Hello and welcome to Nana's Crafty Home. My name is Tanya. Today's tutorial is going to show you how to crochet this Ric Rac lace border. I have worked this border on my Christmas granny square blanket. I have 9 Christmas themed granny squares that you can find as free patterns on my website. I will have a link below in the description for you for those. And I also have a link below in the description if you want the free written pattern instructions, because this border would look great on a lot of different blankets, and you could certainly take this to other projects as well. This is a simple 2-round repeat. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to be working this border on this small granny square. I'm going to be using red and white for my colors. I'm going to start with my white. I'm going to get that on my hook here. My granny square is just a solid double crochet granny square, and then I worked 1 round of single crochet stitches for my base, and I've worked 3 single crochet stitches in each of my chain spaces in my corner. You could certainly work this 2-round border onto this granny square without that base of single crochets. You would just be working your corners into the chain space instead of the single crochet stitches. So now I'm going to begin by working a round of V-stitches, and I'm going to join my white to the middle single crochet of any of my corners. So I've worked 3 single crochets into this chain space at my corner, and I'm going to be joining in that middle single crochet. And again, you could just work this into the chain spaces if you don't have that round of single crochet. So after I've joined my white with a slip stitch, I am going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and double crochet in that same stitch. So this is a beginning V-stitch. Those chains will count as your first double crochet plus a chain 1. So I've completed a V-stitch, chain 1, and work another V-stitch into that same stitch. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all worked in that same stitch, and I've worked my beginning corner. Now I'm going to skip the next 2 stitches and work a V-stitch in the next stitch. So skip the next 2, 1, 2, V-stitch in that next stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all worked in that same stitch, skip 2, V-stitch in the next. And this is your repeat to your corner. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the same stitch, skip the next 2 stitches, V-stitch in the next. So skip the next 2, V-stitch in the next, skip the next 2, V-stitch in the next, skip the next 2. Now I'm in my corner. So again, I have 3 single crochets in that corner. Once I have skipped 2 stitches, I'm working my corner in that middle single crochet stitch, and I'm going to work a V-stitch, chain 1, and a V-stitch all in that same stitch. So V-stitch by a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in that same stitch, chain 1, V-stitch in the same stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and I've worked my next corner. Now I'm going to be repeating those same steps all the way around my square. So I'm going to skip 2, V-stitch, skip 2, V-stitch, all the way to my next corner, and in my corner, middle single crochet, V-stitch, chain 1, V-stitch, and continue repeating that all the way around. So I've worked all the way around my square, and after I've worked my last V-stitch, I'll have 2 stitches to skip at the end here, and I'm going to slip stitch in the top of that chain 3. That was a beginning chain 4. Remember, that counts as a double crochet plus a chain 1. So I'm going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain, and now I can fasten off my white and join red for my next round. So I'm going to get my red on my hook here, and I'm going to join my red with a slip stitch to the chain 1 space in the middle of a V-stitch corner. So a V-stitch corner is a V-stitch, chain 1, V-stitch. So I'm going to join in that chain 1 corner space. Chain 3, and then work 2 double crochets in that same space. So I'll have 3 double crochets basically in that one space, because that chain 3 is going to count as my first stitch, my first double crochet of that cluster. And what we're going to be doing all the way around is working 3 double crochets in every chain 1 space. So that chain 1 in the middle of your V-stitch, work 3 double crochets in that space. Next V-stitch, 3 double crochets in that chain 1 space. And this is how easy this is. This is what we're doing all the way around. In every single chain 1 space, I'm going to work 3 double crochets into that chain 1 space all the way around. So easy. Then in my V-stitch corner, I'm going to work 3 double crochets in the chain 1 space of that V-stitch, in the chain 1 corner space, and in the chain 1 of the last V-stitch. So 3 double crochets in that next chain 1, 3 double crochets in that chain 1 corner space, three double crochets in the next chain 1 space, and just continue repeating that all the way around, working 3 double crochets in every chain 1 space. So I've worked that all the way around. I have just one more chain space, and that is that chain for that V-stitch here. I am going to be working 3 double crochets between that chain 4 and that double crochet for my last group of 3 double crochets. And then slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 from the beginning and fasten off. And we're ready for another round of V-stitches. So with our white again, we're going to attach our white, join our white to the middle double crochet of any corner 3 double crochet cluster. So this was my beginning double crochet cluster in that chain 1 corner space. So I'm going to be joining in that middle double crochet. So I have 3 double crochets here. That middle one I'm going to join with the slip stitch. Now chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, double crochet in that same stitch, chain 1, and a V-stitch in that same stitch. So double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet, and I've worked my first V-stitch corner of that round. For this round, you're going to be working your V-stitches in the middle double crochet stitch of every group of 3 double crochet clusters. So you're still skipping 2 stitches and then working a V-stitch, but visually it's probably easier just to pick out that middle double crochet and work a V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. And I split my stitch there. So I've worked a V-stitch into that middle double crochet stitch. That next cluster of 3 double crochets, work a V-stitch in the middle one there. And do that all the way down this row, working a V-stitch in the middle double crochet stitch. Or you can count 2, skip 2, and work a V-stitch in the next stitch. Whatever works best for you, whatever method you prefer. This is my corner 3 double crochet cluster worked into that chain 1 corner space, and so I'm going to be working a V-stitch into that middle stitch, chain 1, V-stitch in the same stitch, and then just repeat working a V-stitch in the middle stitch, middle double crochet stitch of every cluster from the previous round to your next corner. In that middle corner there, work a V-stitch, chain 1, V-stitch, all worked into that middle double crochet stitch. So just continue that on around. So I've worked that round of V-stitches. I am at the final cluster here. I worked a V-stitch, and now I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 from that beginning chain 4. Ready to fasten off and move on to the next round, which is going to be red. And we're just going to be repeating the same thing we did with our last round of double crochet clusters. We're going to join in that corner, chain 1 space, chain 3, 2 double crochets in that same space, and then work 3 double crochet clusters in every chain 1 space around. So 3 double crochets in that next chain 1, 3 double crochets in this next chain 1, and just continue repeating that all the way around, and you have completed your border. So when you get to the end of your round, slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 to complete your round and your border. Look how pretty that border is. And the great thing about this is you can make your border as wide as you'd like. You would just continue repeating those last 2 rounds that we worked, repeating your next round of V-stitches, another round of double crochet clusters, until you get the size desired for your border. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial today. Thanks so much for being with me. As always, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you never miss a new video. Thanks everyone. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.